What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 4th episode of Class Act, and today we'll be looking at the MK14, which I'm proud to say is probably the most requested weapon in the history of Class Act, including Black Ops. So we're finally getting around to it, and this is the class that I like to use, and it really revolves around marksman and rapid fire on this. And I like to use rapid fire because the fire rate on the MK14 is just so slow. Unless you get rapid fire on it, then you can fire it a little bit quicker. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I like to use marksman, and that's really important on this class. And I kind of have some boring stuff with sleight of hand and quick draw, but I think that's important with a single fire weapon. And I also like to run the support package just because it seems like I always tend to kind of fall back to the support role when I play a single fire weapon, because it is a little bit more tricky to use because it's going to be outclassed by the automatic weapons. I mean, there's no doubt about that. But the thing about the MK14 that makes it a very usable weapon is the high damage and the fact that you have a possibility to get a one-shot headshot within range. Now you notice I am using the MK14 with only rapid fire. I'm not using any I'm not using any optic sights or anything like that. The only thing I could see you using, which we'll talk about as my little extra credit class here later on, would be a silencer with a rapid fire. But I feel like you have got to have rapid fire on this to make it a usable weapon, because without rapid fire it shoots just a little bit too slow, and we'll look at the gun stats a little bit later on. But what makes marksman so important on the MK14 is just the ability to spot targets. Single fire weapons are very precise, and being able to see people at longer ranges makes it really important to have marksman on. I feel like I'm just at a huge disadvantage when I don't have marksman on and I'm using the MK14, just because I feel like the marksman perk was made for like burst fire weapons and single fire weapons and sniper rifles, and it's almost like the MK14 is a scopeless sniper rifle. I know it's very similar to the M21 sniper system, and this is about as close as we're ever going to get in Call of Duty to a scopeless sniper, at least in terms of the modern day shooters. So a lot of people have always wanted scopeless snipers, and this is a very good compromise to that. And rapid fire makes it a little bit easier to compete with some of these people running around with like P90s and PP 90M1s or whatever that gun's called. So I like to call it the squirt gun. So look at the gun stats here. You're looking at 70 damage with the MK14, so that's extremely high. So it's a 2-bullet kill almost always. I mean, even at extreme ranges, it's going to be a 2-bullet kill, I'm pretty sure. Because you're not really going to get into situations, maybe on like lockdown, what's that, interchange, they got some really long lines of sight, then you might be running into some drop-off problems. It fires at like 550 rounds per minute without rapid fire, but you can up that by a third and go almost up to 615 or something around those lines with rapid fire. So that's an extreme advantage that you might want to consider when using this. Now it does have pretty quick aim down sights time, but I still like to use quick draw on it because quick draw just really helps you just compete with the like I said earlier, it just helps you compete with the fully automatic weapons within this game, because it's extremely outclassed in terms of close combat. Hip fire is not really that great on it. It's just not an overall good close combat weapon. But in terms of long range fighting and just medium range fighting, it's really going to reign supreme, especially if you consider yourself an accurate shooter. Now I like to use the M9 because the M9 is probably my second favorite secondary to have. If I was running steady aim, I'd probably have a Kimbo Scorpions, but I never run the steady aim on this class. But the M9 is always a solid choice. I like extended mags on it or a silencer, either or. If I'm using the silencer on my primary, I almost always use the silencer on the M9. If I'm not, I always use extended mags. So the M9 is just my go-to secondary. I feel like the FMGs are a little bit overplayed, so there's really no reason to ever suggest using those. I feel like the M9 actually gets me out of more situations where I don't think the FMGs could, just because you can get some range on the M9 versus the other one. Now, the cool thing about rapid fire on this weapon is it makes it so that you can kill people a lot quicker. I know that's pretty redundant sounding than you could without it. Now, if you think that I'm exaggerating, just try out the MK14 while you grind for rapid fire, and you'll understand what I mean. It seems like it's very painful to kill people when you don't have rapid fire on, just because you can't seem to fire fast enough to make it an effective weapon. So rapid fire is one of the best ways around that. I know I cannot emphasize that enough with this class, guys. It revolves around marksman and rapid fire. I feel like that's what makes it tick. The kill streaks really aren't important with a class like this. I found myself running specialist. I found myself running support. For these games you've seen me play here, I've been mostly running support. I like to run like a stealth bomber, I like to run advanced UAV, and I like to either run EMP or juggernaut, you know, the recon juggernaut. Both are good choices. If you're more of a kill kind of guy, go with the recon juggernaut. It's actually a pretty decent kill streak because it's not really that hard to do. But anyways, the only substitution I could ever make for this class, like I said earlier, would be the silencer on it. And I also I leave rapid fire on just because rapid fire with the silencer works really well. And look at this penetrating power. I found that the MK14 shoots through walls very, very, very precisely. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this look at the MK14. I know it was a little bit shorter than the previous episodes, but I'm going to be trying to crank these out once a week. So let me know what weapon you might like to see next week. And if you missed any of the previous episodes, check either of these two links out. We did the G36C and the PP90. And the first episode was actually the P90. So if you want to go all the way back to the beginning, just click the show link at the top of this video and it'll take you to all the episodes. But let me know what you guys think on what the next weapon should be, and I'll be sure to get that out. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to rate and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of these. And I will see you guys next time.